Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're sifting through some old change at the bottom of your junk drawer, just mindlessly searching for a quarter to feed the parking meter. Suddenly, your fingers land on a dull, little penny. You flip it over, and there it is, a 1963 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Nothing special, right? Wrong. That penny could be worth a whopping $1.1 million today. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny could be your golden ticket to millionaire status. Crazy, right? Well, stick around because I'm about to spill the beans on why this coin is worth so much, how you might just stumble upon one, and how to tell if yours is the real deal. Now, let's break this down. First off, what's the deal with the 1963 no mint mark penny? Well, back in the day, most pennies were minted in Philadelphia, which didn't use mint marks. So, no mint mark actually means it was made there. But that alone doesn't make it valuable, otherwise, we'd all be rich. Nope, this baby is special because of a unique error. You see, coin collectors, or numismatists, fancy word alert, go wild for rare errors. The 1963 no mint mark Lincoln penny has a fascinating backstory. Some of these coins were struck with a slightly misaligned die or had doubling on the lettering and date, a phenomenon called double die obverse. Combine that rarity with its pristine condition, known as MS67 or higher in coin grading terms, and you've got yourself $1 million payday. And now, let me tell you a quick story. Last year, my cousin Dave, yes, the same Dave who once tried to pay me back for lunch and loose nickels, was clearing out his old piggy bank. He came across a 1963 penny. At first, he thought it was just another regular coin, but I convinced him to have it checked out. Spoiler alert, it wasn't worth millions, but it was still worth a couple $100 because of its condition. He used that money to buy me, wait for it, lunch. Thanks, Dave, but let's get back to the $1 million question. How do you know if your 1963 penny is the jackpot? Here's the rundown. Look for that doubling on the obverse, especially on In God We Trust and 1963. Check the coin's condition. Even minor scratches can lower its value significantly. Get it authenticated by a professional. There are experts who can certify its grade and rarity, which is crucial if you plan to sell it. Alright, so now you might be wondering, where on earth do I even find a coin like this? Well, here's the good news: it could literally be anywhere. Junk drawers, old jars, grandma's attic, or even in circulation. Yes, there are still rare coins floating around in loose change. True story: a guy in Texas found a valuable penny at a gas station while buying a pack of gum. So, always check your change. Now, if you do happen to strike gold, or, in this case, copper, the next step is selling it. Auctions are where these high-value coins really shine. In 2023, a 1963 no mint mark penny in perfect condition sold for $1.1 million at a major auction. Imagine walking into that room with your humble penny and walking out a millionaire. Talk about a glow-up. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you're sitting there thinking, man, I need to go check my loose change, you're not alone. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems, and who knows? You might be sitting on a treasure without even realizing it. Before you dash off to raid your piggy bank, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you uncover the next big coin find, share tips on spotting valuable currency, and maybe even help you fund your dream vacation or pay off those pesky student loans. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a cool coin or if you think Dave still owes me lunch. Hey there, treasure hunters. Have you ever found a penny lying on the ground and thought, man, it's just a penny? Well, buckle up, because after this video, you might start treating those little copper coins like gold. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that could turn your pockets into $1.2 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.2 million. Now, before you start flipping over every penny in your house, stick around. We're not just talking numbers, we're talking history, fun facts, and how you could strike it rich with one of these bad boys. Oh, and I'll share a little personal story about the time I almost missed a golden opportunity with a coin. Spoiler alert, it involves my couch and a snack break gone right. Alright, let's dive in and find out why this penny is more than just spare change. Let's set the scene. The year is 1980. Big hair is in, disco is fading, and the US Mint in Philadelphia is cranking out millions of pennies without a mint mark. That's right, the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark on pennies back then, which is why you won't see a tiny P on this coin. But here's where it gets interesting. Among those millions, a rare batch of pennies was struck with a slight error. These errors are what make coin collectors go bananas. It could be a doubled die, a misstrike, or even a change in the copper to zinc ratio used in the penny. Whatever the case, it's this tiny, almost imperceptible difference that elevates the 1980 no mint mark penny from "here's your change" to "here's your new house." Now, you're probably thinking, why would someone pay a fortune for a penny? Great question. It all boils down to rarity, condition, and demand. The 1980 no mint mark penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is a collector's dream. Think of it like a vintage car. Sure, it's still just a car, but if it's a rare model in mint condition, people will pay top dollar. For example, a collector at an auction in 2023 snapped up one of these pennies for $1.2 million. Why? Because it was in almost perfect condition, certified by a grading company, and had a unique story to tell. Let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a small fortune. Picture this: it's a lazy Sunday, I'm chilling on the couch with a bag of chips, and I drop a few coins that were in my pocket. Naturally, they roll into that mysterious void where lost socks and crumbs live, the gap between the cushions. Later, while fishing for my lost change, I pull out a penny that looks a little off. It was shinier, almost untouched, and the year? You guessed it, 1980. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I remembered hearing about rare coins online. Long story short, I sent it to be appraised, and while it wasn't the $1.2 million jackpot, it was worth enough to buy me a fancy dinner. The moral of the story? Always check your couch cushions. Here's where the detective work begins. If you're lucky enough to have a 1980 no mint mark penny, here's what you should look for: is it shiny and clean? The less wear and tear, the better. Check for doubling on letters or numbers, off-center strikes, or anything that looks unusual. Some pennies from this era have a unique metal composition. If you have a small scale, weigh it, and remember, even if your penny isn't worth $1.2 million, it could still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and uniqueness. So, what happens if you hit the penny jackpot? First, don't freak out. Second, don't clean it. Seriously, cleaning can lower its value. Take it to a professional coin appraiser or grading service. They'll confirm its authenticity and help you determine its value. So, there you have it, the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a tiny treasure hiding in plain sight. Who knew something so small could be worth so much? Next time you get change at the store or find a coin on the ground, give it a closer look. You never know, you might be holding on to the next $1 million penny. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories about valuable coins that could change your life or at least your wallet. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or have a fun story about pocket change, drop it in the comments. Let's keep the treasure hunt alive. Hey there, treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're digging through your couch cushions, maybe looking for some spare change for your morning coffee. You pull out a penny, but what if that penny was worth $1.30 million? Yes, you heard me right, million with an M. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could make you richer than you ever imagined. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Welcome back to the channel, folks. If you're new here, we're all about turning those dusty old coins into big bucks. And if you've been here before, you already know this is where the coin magic happens. Today's coin? It's got history, mystery, and a jaw-dropping price tag that might just have you running to your penny jar. Let's kick things off with a little backstory. The 1987 Lincoln penny is your classic copper-coated zinc cent with Honest Abe front and center, doing his thing. But here's the kicker: most 1987 pennies were minted in either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, and they have the little mint marks to prove it. But the no mint mark version? That's where the real magic happens. It's a rare minting error, and collectors go absolutely wild for it. Think of it as the VIP section of pennies. Now, why would anyone pay $1.3 million for a penny? Great question. It all boils down to rarity and demand. When a penny is struck without a mint mark, it's usually due to an error at the Philadelphia Mint. These mistakes don't happen often, and when they do, it's like striking gold, except, it's copper. Combine that rarity with collectors who are obsessed with filling every tiny gap in their collections, and boom, you've got $1 million penny. So, how do you know if you've got this jackpot of a penny? First, grab a magnifying glass, because let's be real, nobody's eyesight is good enough to spot these details without some help. Check the area below the year 1987 on the coin. If there's no mint mark, you might be in luck. But hold up, don't start celebrating just yet. You'll want to check the coin's condition, too. Grading plays a huge role in value. A perfect uncirculated coin could be worth millions, while one that's been tossed around in someone's pocket might just fetch a few bucks. Let me tell you a quick story. A while back, I was helping my grandma clean out her old coin jar, the one every grandma seems to have. We were sorting through pennies, and I spotted one that looked a little odd. I got super excited, thinking I'd hit the jackpot. Turns out, it was just a 1987 penny that had been worn down to the point where the mint mark was barely visible. Classic rookie mistake. But hey, it gave me the bug to keep hunting. And who knows? Maybe next time, I'll actually find the real deal. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The current market value for a pristine 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a whopping $1.3 million. Yep, that's enough to buy a dream house, travel the world, or just flex on everyone you know. But remember, finding one isn't easy. They're rare for a reason, and condition is everything. Even if yours isn't worth millions, it could still fetch a decent price from the right collector. So, keep looking, you never know what might turn up. And that's the story of the 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, proof that even the smallest things can hold incredible value. Now, if you've got a penny jar at home, I suggest you start digging. But before you do, hit that subscribe button. We've got more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you a fortune. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow treasure hunters. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. What if I told you that a penny, the kind you find in your couch cushions or at the bottom of your car's cup holder, could be worth $1.40 million? Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a little copper superstar that's turning heads in the collector world. So, grab your loose change, because you might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. Now, before we jump into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my junk drawer, that magical place where batteries, random keys, and old receipts go to die. I stumbled upon a penny. It was dirty, scratched, and looked pretty useless. Little did I know, coins like that could sometimes hold incredible value. Ever since, I've been hooked on coin collecting, and trust me, after today, you'll be checking your pennies too. Alright, let's get into the juicy details. What makes the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so special? First off, the no-mint mark part is key. Typically, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, but not all no-mint mark coins are valuable. What sets this one apart is a rare and fascinating design error. This penny features a slight variation in its lettering, specifically in the letters FG, the initials of the coin's designer, Frank Gasparo. On the 1988 penny, some coins accidentally used a die intended for proof coins, resulting in what's called the wide AM error. To the untrained eye, it might look like just another penny, but for collectors, this detail is like finding a golden ticket. And now, you're probably thinking, okay, but why $1.4 million? Here's the deal, rarity equals value. Only a handful of these error pennies exist, and coin collectors are willing to pay top dollar, scratch that, top million, for one in mint condition. Imagine holding a coin that's more valuable than a Lamborghini. That's the magic of this penny. And while most of us will never stumble across one, there's still a chance. Who knows? It could be sitting in that jar of coins on your dresser, so how can you tell if you've got this $1 million penny? Here are some quick tips. That's the tail side of the coin. Focus on the FG initials next to the Lincoln Memorial. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. If it's the wide AM variety, you might just have struck gold. If your penny looks like it's been through a blender, don't expect top dollar. Collectors love coins in pristine, shiny condition. Oh, And here's a pro tip: don't just rely on your eyes. If you think you've got something special, take it to a professional coin grader. They'll authenticate it and give you an accurate value. Now, let me ask, have you ever tossed a penny because it seemed worthless? Guilty as charged. Back in the day, I used to ignore pennies altogether. They'd pile up in my car's ashtray or get left behind at the gas station counter. But after learning about these rare finds, I'd become a full-blown penny hoarder. My spouse jokes that I'll need a separate room just for coin jars. Who knew penny pinching could be so literal? So, what's the takeaway here? First, never underestimate the power of a humble penny. Second, always keep an eye on your spare change. And third, coin collecting isn't just for history buffs or nerds. Okay, maybe a little. It's for anyone who loves the thrill of finding hidden treasure. Before you head off to raid your piggy bank, let me leave you with this. The 1988 no-mint mark penny is proof that incredible value can be hidden in the most unexpected places. It's not just about the money, it's about the excitement of the hunt, the stories these coins tell, and the history they carry out. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you want more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth money, hit that subscribe button. I'll be here every week with more tales of hidden treasures. Who knows? Your next penny might just be $1 million payday. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and accidental treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're cleaning out your old junk drawer, dodging random batteries and a tangled mess of rubber bands, when you stumble upon a humble penny. It's a little dusty, maybe even scratched, but what if I told you this penny could be worth $1.5 million? Yes, a single, regular-looking coin from 1992, with a little D mint mark, could make you a millionaire. Stick with me because today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1992 D Lincoln penny, how to spot one, and why it's worth more than your first car. And, of course, I've got a funny little story about my own penny hunting adventures. Spoiler alert, I may or may not have terrified my family, alright, so what's the deal with this magical 1992 D penny? Let's break it down. The key to this coin's value is in a minting error. Back in 1992, the US Mint accidentally used the wrong die when creating some pennies. Instead of using the standard die, which separates AM and America, they used one that made the AM look too close together. This is called a close AM variety. Now, I know what you're thinking, seriously? A spacing error is worth $1.5 million? Yes, my friend. Coin collectors go wild for these tiny mistakes because they're super rare. It's like finding a typo in a Shakespeare manuscript or a Starbucks cup in a medieval TV show. Here's what to do if you think you've hit the jackpot: look for 1992 on the front of the coin. Right below the date, there should be a little D for Denver. Flip the coin over and squint at the back. If the letters A and M are practically cuddling, you might have the close AM variety. You grab a magnifying glass or, if you're like me and don't own one, borrow your kid's science kit. That's what I did. And let me tell you, it felt like CSI, Penny Edition. Let's talk numbers. Regular 1992 pennies? Worth 1 cent. The close AM 1992 D? Worth up to $1.5 million in pristine condition. That's because only a handful of these coins were made, and even fewer have been found. It's the scarcity that drives collectors into a bidding frenzy. Okay, confession, when I first learned about this penny, I got way too excited. I pulled out every jar of spare change in my house, dumped them on the kitchen table, and started sorting like a maniac. My partner walked in, saw me with coins scattered everywhere, and said, "Are we in financial trouble? Should I call someone?" I had to explain that I wasn't planning to cash in the change to pay rent. I was on a quest for buried treasure. I didn't find a 1992 D close AM penny that day, but I did find a wheat penny from 1941, which was still pretty cool. The moral of the story? Even if you don't strike it rich, coin collecting is a fun hobby and a great way to freak out your family. If you think you found a 1992 D close AM penny, don't just shove it in your wallet and head to the gas station. You'll want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its authenticity and grade its condition, which can seriously impact its value. Alright, folks, here's the bottom line: that little copper coin sitting in your change jar or between your couch cushions could be a life changer. The 1992 D Lincoln penny with the close AM error is proof that treasure can be hiding in plain sight. So, what are you waiting for? Start digging through your coins. And hey, if you find one, Don't forget to come back here and tell me about it in the comments. I'd love to celebrate your big find. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got more tips, tricks, and jaw-dropping stories about coins worth a fortune coming your way. Let's uncover these hidden treasures together. Hey there, coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and those who just accidentally stumbled into the fascinating world of valuable coins. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, well, this could pay for a candy bar at best? What if I told you a single penny, yes, a humble 1-cent coin, could be worth $1.6 million today? Stick around because we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin so valuable that it's turning regular folks into accidental millionaires. Quick confession, I've been guilty of tossing spare change into the nearest jar without a second glance. But after learning about coins like this one, I'm inspecting every penny like it's a winning lottery ticket. And by the end of this video, you might find yourself doing the same. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about what makes the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny so special. This coin wasn't produced in some far-off exotic mint or coated in gold. It was minted in Philadelphia, which typically didn't add a mint mark during that time. So, no mint mark wasn't unusual for Philly coins. But here's the twist, some of these pennies were struck on error planchets or using dies with slight anomalies. Think of these as factory defects, but instead of lowering the value, it skyrockets. Now, a $1.6 million price tag for a penny isn't just because of a minor error. Oh no, it's the result of collectors going bananas for rare and pristine examples of these coins. Imagine this, a perfect condition 1971 no-mint Mark penny can spark bidding wars that feel like something straight out of a blockbuster movie. I once had a jar full of coins sitting under my bed for years. One day, I decided to Marie Kondo my life, and I dumped that jar at a Coinstar machine. What did I get in return? $23 and change. What did I lose? Who knows? I'll forever wonder if a $1.6 million penny was in that jar. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of loose change. Let's break down why condition matters. In the coin world, collectors and graders use something called the Sheldon scale. A coin graded at MS-70, that's mint state perfection, can command astronomical prices. Even if your 1971 penny is in slightly lesser condition, it can still be worth tens of thousands. So, if you're thinking, but my penny is scratched or dirty, don't lose hope. Even a good condition one might still bring in enough to fund a vacation or at least a fancy dinner. And now, how do you know if you have a 1971 no-mint Mark penny worth millions? First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe, fancy term for a coin magnifier. Check for any signs of minting errors. Look for doubling in the lettering or a weird surface texture. And if you're unsure, there are professional grading services that can evaluate your coin for a small fee. Think of it as getting your penny's resume professionally polished. Here's a funny tidbit, the 1971 penny is so sought after that even a poorly preserved one can cause excitement at garage sales. Imagine the look on your neighbor's face when they sell a junk drawer penny for a cool million. Spoiler alert, they won't be your neighbor much longer, they're moving to a mansion. So, what's the takeaway here? Check your coins. Like, really check them. That little jar of pennies on your counter could hold more value than the jar itself. And if you're lucky enough to find a 1971 no-mint Mark penny in pristine condition, you might just have your hands on $1 million miracle. Before you go hunting through every couch cushion, here's the deal, coins like this remind us that value can be hidden in plain sight. It's not about luck, it's about awareness. If you loved learning about this, I've got more tips, tricks, and treasure hunting strategies coming your way. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join me as we uncover more coins that could change your life or at least upgrade your snack budget. What if I told you there's a single penny out there, hiding in someone's pocket, worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your retirement savings? Sounds insane, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about the legendary 1973 D-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yep, that little copper coin with Abe Lincoln's face on it could fetch you a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. And no, this isn't some late-night infomercial, it's real life. Stick around, because not only am I going to tell you what makes this coin so valuable, but I'll also share a personal story about how I almost missed out on a valuable penny myself. Spoiler alert, I learned my lesson the hard way. Okay, First things first, what makes the 1973 Lincoln penny worth a cool $1.7 million? Well, it all boils down to three key factors: rarity, condition, and a little sprinkle of minting magic. Let's start with rarity. Millions of pennies were minted in 1973 at the Denver Mint, which is what the D stands for. So, you're probably wondering, how can a coin that's not exactly rare be worth so much? Great question. Turns out, some of these coins were struck using experimental minting techniques, and those versions are exceedingly rare. Think of it like finding a one-of-a-kind comic book at a garage sale, except this comic book fits in your pocket and could buy you a mansion. Now, condition is a big deal in the coin world. If your 1973 penny looks like it's been through a washing machine, don't quit your day job just yet. The ones that fetch top dollar are in pristine, uncirculated condition. We're talking you can see every strand of Abe's hair kind of detail. Coin graders use a scale from 1 to 70, and a grade of 68 or higher is where the big money comes into play. And then there's the minting magic. Some coins have minor errors, like double die bursts or off-center strikes, that make them even more valuable. These mistakes turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. It's like finding a rare Pokemon card, but nerdier. Okay, story time. A few years ago, I was going through an old jar of pennies, just a random mix of coins I'd been hoarding since middle school. As I'm sorting through them, I spot this shiny 1973 penny with a D mint mark. My heart starts racing. I thought, this could be it. I'm rich. Long story short, it wasn't the jackpot coin, but it was still worth a decent $50 to a collector. Moral of the story? Check your coins. Seriously, that jar on your kitchen counter could be your ticket to early retirement. Now, let's talk about that $1.7 million price tag. Why is the 1973 penny fetching that kind of cash today? Well, it's all about demand. Coin collectors, especially those with deep pockets, are willing to pay a premium for unique pieces. Add in the fact that inflation makes collectible items more valuable over time, and you've got the perfect storm for a seven-figure payday. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate your spare change. That 1973 penny you almost spent on a pack of gum could be worth a fortune. Take a few minutes to dig through your coin jar, check those mint marks, and maybe even invest in a magnifying glass. Who knows? You might just be sitting on $1 million treasure. And hey, if you found this video helpful, or if you just enjoy the idea of getting rich from pocket change, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of tips on spotting rare coins, understanding their value, and even some wild stories from the world of numismatics. Don't miss out on your next big payday. Hey everyone! Ever wonder if you're sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it? I know I do almost every time I clean out my couch cushions, only to find a dime, some lint, and maybe a popcorn kernel that could pass for a coin. But today, we're talking about something way more exciting than a crumpled snack, something worth millions. Yep, I said millions. If you've got a 1968 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny in your collection, you could be sitting on $1.8 million. Yes, I know, you're probably saying, wait, what? A penny? Well, buckle up because I'm about to break it down for you in a way that'll make you want to check your change jar. You might just find your very own treasure. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Now, we've all heard about pennies, right? I mean, what do we usually do with them? Toss them in a jar, let them pile up in the bottom of our purse, or maybe if we're feeling lucky, just throw them on the street to see if we'll find a lucky penny. By the way, has anyone ever actually found a penny heads up? Seriously, let me know if that works. But this isn't just any penny we're talking about here. Oh no, this is a 1968 D mint mark Lincoln penny, and the value of this little copper treasure is anything but small. The 1968 D penny is currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. You heard me right, million. That's enough to buy you a new car, a house, and maybe even a small island, if you're lucky. But what makes this penny so special, you ask? Well, let me take you back to 1968 for a second. Picture it: Vietnam War, the Beatles are still dominating the music scene, and people are still wondering why the bell-bottom jeans trend is a thing. Seriously, we'll never understand it. But here's the kicker: in 1968, the US Mint accidentally made a bunch of pennies with a small flaw, and when these little guys slipped through the cracks, they became one of the most valuable errors in coin history. These pennies weren't supposed to look like they do, and that's why they're so highly sought after by collectors today. Now, the 1968 D penny isn't just any old coin you'll find in your pocket. It's rare because of that mint error, and as time goes on, its value continues to rise. The big question, though, is what makes a 1968 D penny worth $1.8 million in the first place? It's all about that mint mark, the rarity of the specific error, and of course, the condition of the coin. Let's talk about the mint mark. The D is key here. It stands for Denver, where the penny was struck. If your penny has the D mint mark and you happen to stumble upon one with a particular error or in pristine condition, you could have something worth way more than just the 1 cent value. The rarer the penny, the more valuable it is. And now, let me be clear, most of us aren't going to find a perfect 1968 D penny, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's about keeping an eye out for these rare gems, and who knows? You could walk into a thrift store or a coin shop, maybe stumble across one of these little guys, and boom, instant fortune. Speaking of finding treasure, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, nothing fancy, just the usual: old furniture, books nobody wants, and of course, a bucket of random coins. Most of the coins were pennies, nickels, and dimes that were either really worn or just, well, boring. But I spotted one penny that caught my eye. It was a 1943 steel penny, a pretty rare one, and I got it for only 50 cents. Can you believe that? I didn't know what it was worth at the time, but guess what? That little penny is now worth more than $10. Doesn't sound like a fortune, but it's a nice little win. Now, imagine if I had found a 1968 D penny back then. Mind-blown.so, how can you tell if your 1968 D penny is one of the lucky ones? First off, look for the D mint mark. If it's there, congrats, you're halfway there. Then, check the condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is. You're looking for a penny that's in excellent condition, free from corrosion, scratches, or heavy wear. Coins that are graded as MS67 or higher can go for big bucks, but the real kicker is the rarity. While it might seem like just another coin in your collection, if you've got a rare version of that 1968 D penny, you could be looking at a pretty sweet payday. That's why coin collectors spend so much time and energy hunting down these little mistakes in minting. They know that the rarity of a coin is what makes it valuable. And while not every 1968 D penny will fetch $1.8 million, finding one that's in great condition with a minting error could mean a whole lot of extra cash in your pocket. So, here's the deal. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's an investment. And that 1968 D Lincoln penny? Well, it might just be your ticket to a fortune. But hey, don't just take my word for it, check your coins, do a little research, and maybe you'll get lucky. If you've enjoyed learning about the 1968 D penny and how to spot these little gems, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and strategies on how you can find coins worth money, and who knows? Your next coin could be the one that makes you rich. Trust me, there's no better feeling than finding something valuable in your change jar, except maybe when you find your keys after they've been missing for a week. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep those eyes peeled for those valuable coins. You never know when one will turn up. Hey, coin enthusiasts! You're about to hear a story that'll make you take another look at that pocket change you've been tossing around. You know that penny you just found under the couch cushion or at the bottom of your laundry basket? Well, hold on to it, because it could be worth a lot more than you think. Imagine finding a coin worth $1.1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? But for one lucky person, that's reality. Today, we're diving into the surprisingly valuable 1986 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Trust me, you're going to want to keep watching. Alright, let's break this down. You're probably thinking, a 1986 penny? Isn't that just another penny? And to the untrained eye, yes, it might look like just any old penny. But here's the kicker: this specific penny, with no mint mark, could fetch up to $1.1 million on the market. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million. And now, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. The 1986 no mint mark penny is part of a rare group of coins that was produced with a flaw. You see, most pennies are minted in specific locations, which means they have a mint mark. But this particular 1986 penny was produced in Philadelphia, and it's missing that little mark that usually indicates where the coin was made. In short, that tiny detail makes it rare, and rare coins are like gold in the collector's world. Why does this missing mint mark matter so much? Well, it's because coin collectors love those oopsie moments, when a coin comes out of the mint with something that wasn't planned. It's like finding a surprise in your cereal box, only instead of a plastic toy, it's a ticket to a treasure trove. Now, let's go a little deeper into the history. Back in 1986, the US Mint was rolling out pennies like it was no big deal. But when this little error popped up, a batch of pennies without a mint mark, they didn't exactly raise any alarms. It wasn't until later that collectors realized how rare they were, and suddenly, this mistake became a golden opportunity for investors and collectors alike. Here's the thing, not every 1986 penny is worth $1.1 million. You've got to find the right one in great condition. If it's beat up from years of being in someone's pocket, it won't have that $1 million value. But if you've got one that's in mint or near mint condition, well, you could be looking at a serious windfall. Speaking of rare finds, I'll tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, just browsing around, the usual looking for treasure kind of thing. I picked up a box of old coins for like $10. I didn't expect much, but hey, who doesn't love a good bargain? Turns out, hidden in that box was an old silver dollar that I had no idea could be worth over $200. It was a classic I can't believe this is happening moment. So I get it, you might be thinking, who knew a penny could be so valuable? But believe me, with a little knowledge and a bit of luck, you could end up with a coin that's worth a lot more than you think. Now, let's talk about the market for these bad boys. The price of a 1986 no mint mark penny depends on its condition, of course. But even in just good condition, it can go for a few $1,000s. If it's well preserved, collectors might fork out tens of thousands. And that's before we even talk about if you've got a perfect specimen. A gem quality coin could reach the $1 million mark. So, don't be in a rush to throw away the change jar just yet. How do you know if you've got one of these $1 million pennies? It's actually pretty simple, look for that mint mark. The 1986 penny from Philadelphia is the one without a mint mark. If it has an D or S, it's not the one we're talking about. But if you're still not sure, grab a magnifying glass, take a good look, and make sure that coin is as flawless as you think it is. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I sell a coin like this? Great question. The market for rare coins is pretty active, but you'll need to find a reputable coin dealer or auction house. Don't just go listing it on eBay and hope for the best. Do some research, find a buyer who specializes in rare coins, and be prepared for some serious negotiations. Alright, coin lovers, that's all the scoop on the 1986 no mint mark penny. Who knew a little piece of metal could be worth so much, right? But this just goes to show, always check your spare change. You never know when you'll find a rare treasure. Trust me, it happened to me, and it could happen to you. If you want to stay ahead of the game and keep up with the world of valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss out on future tips and tricks for finding coins worth money. After all, you never know, the next coin you pick up could be worth a fortune. Got a coin story of your own? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences with rare finds. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep your eyes peeled, those pennies might just make you rich. Hey, coin enthusiasts! Ever wondered what a penny from 1991 could be worth? I mean, you probably have a ton of 91 pennies rolling around in that jar at home, right? Well, grab that jar because today, we're diving into the story of the 1991 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that could have you sitting on a small fortune worth $1.2 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.2 million. That's not a typo. So sit tight, because by the end of this video, you might just look at your pennies in a whole new way. Alright, let's get into it. So you're probably thinking, how on earth does a 1991 penny end up being worth that much money? I mean, it's just a penny, right? Well, before we jump into that, let's talk about the basics. The 1991 D Mint Mark penny is one of those coins that you'd barely give a second glance to if you found it in your pocket change. It has Abraham Lincoln's face, which, by the way, doesn't really age, does it? He looks just as dignified in 1991 as he did in the 1860s. But that little D Mint mark on the back, well, that's where the magic happens. Now, here's the kicker. This penny is not your average coin. You see, the 1991 D is one of those rare cases where a small production mistake made it super valuable. Some of these pennies were made with a double die error. Basically, when the die was used to stamp the coins, it was misaligned. So, what you get is a penny that has a little extra oomph to the design, extra sharpness, a bit more detail, and most importantly, rarity. That's the key. Why does rarity matter? Well, folks, the rarer a coin is, the more valuable it becomes. I've got a personal story for you. A few years ago, I was sorting through my dad's old coin collection, just casually flipping through pennies like they were all the same. Until I hit one that made my jaw drop. It was a 1970s penny, and boom, it was worth a few $100. I was like, what? I could have had a small vacation fund just sitting in my change jar all these years. So, the moral of the story here is, always check your pennies.so. How do you know if you have one of these golden, or rather copper, 1991 D Mint Mark pennies? Well, first off, look closely at the design on Lincoln's face and the lettering. If it looks a bit more pronounced or double, you could have a winner. And I'm not talking about a shiny penny that just got polished. This is about authentic error coins that made it through the mint unnoticed. Remember, it's gotta be rare, and it's gotta have that little mistake to make it worth millions. Here's a quick tip on spotting these bad boys. Use a magnifying glass or even a phone camera to get a good look at the fine details of the coin. Inspect the letters, especially around Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse. If you spot any extra doubling or clarity that shouldn't be there, congratulations, you might have yourself a $1.2 million penny on your hands. Well, maybe not yet, but it's a step in the right direction. But wait, let's not forget about the actual physical condition of your penny. A 1991 D in pristine condition will naturally fetch a higher price. Look for signs of wear and tear. The better the condition, the better the payout. Some of these error coins were worn down after spending years in circulation, but if you can find one that's well preserved, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. And if you're thinking, hey, this is too good to be true, let me tell you, the 1991 D penny isn't the only rare coin out there. But it's one of those hidden gems that most people overlook. So, the next time you get your hands on a 1991 penny, don't just toss it into the jar and forget about it, give it a good look. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1991 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny and its potential to be worth a staggering $1.2 million. Who would have thought that something so small and seemingly insignificant could hold so much value? It just goes to show that even the most ordinary things can have extraordinary value if you know what to look for. And hey, if you're as excited about this coin game as I am, then hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money, error coins, and everything you need to know to turn your pocket change into a small fortune. I'm always on the lookout for more rare finds, and I'll be sharing them with you right here. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this wild ride of coin hunting. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. You ever find yourself staring at your pocket change and wondering if you just missed out on a small fortune? I know I have. Imagine finding a penny that could be worth, wait for it, $1.3 million. Sounds crazy, right? But it's not just some wild coin collector's dream. Today, we're diving into a rare gem that could very well be hiding in your coin jar right now, the 1969 D Lincoln penny. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know how to spot this treasure and what makes it so valuable. Trust me, you're gonna want to know the ins and outs of this penny before it's too late. Spoiler alert, you're gonna need to check your pockets, like right now. Alright, let's start with the basics. In case you didn't know, the 1969 D Lincoln penny isn't just any old penny you find at the bottom of your bag. Nope, this one's a real standout. It's got the famous D Mint mark, which tells us it was produced in Denver, Colorado. And while most pennies are worth, well, 1 cent, the 1969 D penny can fetch a whopping $1.3 million. Yep, you heard that right, million with an M. Now, you're probably thinking, how can this tiny, copper coin be worth more than my car? Well, there's a very good reason. The key to its insane value lies in a little mistake, one that's super rare and often overlooked. This penny, my friends, is one of the coins with an incredibly rare double die error. That's when the die used to strike the penny gets misaligned, and the design gets printed twice. The result? A doubled image of Abraham Lincoln and the date, making the penny a collector's dream. So, how do you know if your 1969 D penny has this error? It's all about checking for that double image. First, look at the date. If it's a little too twice as nice, with two sets of numbers, you might be holding the jackpot. It's kinda like when you accidentally take a double shot of espresso in the morning, you know it's a good thing, but it might leave you jittery. Same with this coin, the double die makes it stand out big time in the market. I had a personal experience with this myself. Just a couple of years ago, I was sorting through a box of coins I'd inherited. Among all the usual stuff was a 1969 penny. It wasn't much to look at. But I remembered hearing about these rare double die coins, so I took a closer look. And what do you know? It had the faintest signs of doubling on the date. Needless to say, I wasn't about to just toss it into my loose change jar. A little research and a trip to a coin expert later, and I learned it was worth a lot more than I thought. No $1.3 million yet, but that penny was still a pretty sweet find. So, if you're hunting for a 1969 D penny, take a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera and zoom in on the details. Check for any kind of doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust." It'll be super clear if you have the real deal, but hold on, there's more to the story. Not every 1969 D penny is worth a fortune. The error is rare, and the condition of the coin matters big time. To really get top dollar, your penny needs to be in great shape. I'm talking about the kind of condition that makes you think, is this coin even real? Coins in mint condition, free from wear and tear, are far more valuable. The market also loves those graded by professional services. If your penny is certified as being in mint or near mint condition, you can bet it's gonna fetch a much higher price than an average, ungraded one. Now, don't get too bummed out if you don't find one in your change today. The 1969 D double die penny is a rare breed, and finding one in perfect condition is like stumbling upon a unicorn. But the truth is, the world of coins is full of hidden treasures, and with the right knowledge, you could uncover more of these amazing finds. Speaking of knowledge, let's talk for a minute about the importance of staying informed in this hobby. The world of coins is constantly changing. Values shift, new discoveries are made, and sometimes, pennies that were once considered junk become highly sought after. By keeping your eye on trends and staying updated, you can stay ahead of the game and maximize the value of your collection. And, hey, it's not all about the crazy rare stuff. The fun part of collecting is that every coin has a story. Whether it's a penny that came from your grandma's purse or one you found on a road trip, there's always a cool backstory to tell. So, to recap, the 1969 D Lincoln penny is a gem, and finding one with a double die error can make you a cool $1.3 million richer. But before you start raiding your piggy bank, remember to check for those subtle details, double images, clear mint marks, and the right condition. And if you don't find one today? Don't worry, there are plenty of other pennies out there worth a lot more than face value. If you're into this kind of treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. I've got loads more tips and tricks on coins that could make you a fortune. Who knows, your next pocket change might be worth way more than you think. Have you ever dug through a pile of pennies at the bottom of your couch cushions and thought, I wonder if any of these could be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a penny that could turn your loose change into a life-changing amount of money. I'm talking about the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's currently valued at a whopping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard that right, one little penny worth over $1 million. Sound too good to be true? Stick around, and I'll tell you exactly why this humble coin is worth its weight in gold, or at least in stacks of bills. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. You see, pennies aren't usually the kind of coins that make you do a double take. Most of us toss them in a jar or let them pile up in our pockets, but a few rare pennies have been known to blow people's minds. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those rare cases. First, let's talk about the mint mark, or in this case, the lack of it. Typically, pennies from 1987 have a D mint mark if they were made in Denver, or no mint mark if they were struck in Philadelphia. But here's where it gets interesting, some of those 1987 pennies were made without a mint mark altogether, and that's where the value starts to skyrocket. Why is this so important? Well, the US Mint is usually pretty good about adding a mint mark to every coin to indicate where it was made. So when a coin comes along without one, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But why are collectors and experts freaking out over these pennies? It all comes down to rarity and the small number that made it into circulation. According to collectors and coin experts, there are fewer than 10 known examples of the 1987 no mint mark penny in excellent condition, and these rare beauties are worth anywhere from $1 million to $1.4 million, depending on their condition. Pretty crazy, right? Imagine you find one of these in your pocket change. What would you do? Sell it, frame it, or start a coin collection? Decisions, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was going through my spare change, just like you probably do, cursing at the lint-covered coins and wondering why I can never find a quarter when I need one. I picked up a penny and thought, this one's in pretty good shape. Now, I didn't think it was anything special, but I set it aside anyway, just in case. Fast forward a few weeks, and I'm casually watching a coin auction online, because, that's what normal people do with their time, and I see a listing for a 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny. I almost fell off my chair when I saw how much it was going for. That's when it hit me, I had one of those pennies. I raced back to my coin jar like a maniac, pulling out pennies with the speed of a professional poker dealer. Sadly, my penny turned out to be a regular one with the D mint mark. But let me tell you, it was an exciting few minutes, and I've been on the lookout for rare pennies ever since. And now, you might be wondering, why was there a batch of 1987 pennies with no mint mark? Well, it's believed that these pennies were struck in Philadelphia but somehow missed the mint mark stamp. Maybe the minting machine malfunctioned, or maybe someone forgot to put the stamp on the coin. Whoops, right? It's one of those happy accidents that's become the stuff of coin collector legend. In other words, these 1987 pennies are like that one oops item that slips through the cracks. Think of it like a limited edition sneaker, but instead of cool kicks, you've got a shiny penny that could put a few extra zeros in your bank account. They're that rare. So, how can you spot one of these $1 million pennies in your collection? First of all, it has to be from 1987, no surprises there. But the real key is the absence of a mint mark. Look closely at the reverse side, where the year is displayed. If there's no D or S, for Denver or San Francisco, you might just have yourself a winner. Also, keep in mind that these pennies need to be in great condition to fetch their top value. If your penny is bent, scratched, or worn out from years of being tossed around in a coin jar, it's not going to fetch nearly as much. The better the condition, the higher the price, and before you get too excited and rush to check all your pennies, remember, there are only a handful of these rare pennies out there. But hey, it doesn't hurt to check, right? Maybe you'll be the one to stumble across the next big find. So there you have it, the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's not just a part of history, but potentially worth $1 million or more. Who knew a simple penny could be worth so much? But that's the magic of coin collecting, you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this dive into the world of rare pennies and you're looking for more tips on how to spot valuable coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin secrets to share, and who knows? Maybe the next treasure you find could be worth a fortune. Now, get out there, check your change, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest surprises. Hey there, coin lovers! Imagine this, you're going through a stack of old pennies, maybe your grandpa's collection, when suddenly, bam, you stumble upon a coin worth $1.5 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, that could very well happen with a 1964 D mint mark Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.5 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, there's no way. But trust me, stick with me, and I'll walk you through how this little penny could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your life savings. It's wild, but it's true. So, grab your magnifying glass and your favorite cup of coffee, this is going to be a fun ride. Let's dive in and talk about why this seemingly ordinary 1964 D penny is getting all the love in the coin world. First off, you might be wondering, what makes a penny from 1964 worth so much? Is it made of gold? Maybe it fell into a pile of rare minting dust? Well, not exactly. It's actually all about rarity, demand, and a very specific minting error that turns this tiny coin into a giant treasure. Let's back up a bit. The 1964 D penny was minted in Denver, and most of these pennies were just your average, everyday coins, nothing to get excited about. However, a rare group of them were mistruck, leading to a unique variety that coin collectors go absolutely wild for. These coins have distinct characteristics that set them apart from the typical 1964D pennies. So, what's the big deal? Well, it's all about something called a double die error, which occurs when the design on the coin is struck twice, causing the image to be blurry, misaligned, or doubled up. In the case of the 1964D, the doubling is so noticeable that it's a dead giveaway that you found something rare. The doubling most commonly appears on the word Liberty and the date 1964, and once you spot it, you'll realize it's not just any regular penny. It's a collector's dream. Now, if you're thinking, okay, cool. But how do I know if my penny is worth millions? Here's where the real fun begins. First, let me tell you about something I did a few years ago. Don't laugh. I thought I had the holy grail of pennies when I found a 1964 penny in my couch cushions. It was slightly dirty, but I thought, hey, this could be valuable, right? So, like any rational person, I googled it. Turns out, my penny was worth about 2 cents. But it got me thinking, there's a lot more to these coins than meets the eye. And now I'm here to tell you, this 1964 mint penny? It's different. You need to check for that mint mark, look closely at the double die error, and get a professional appraiser if you think you've got a valuable one. A good rule of thumb is, if you can see a noticeable doubling on Liberty or the date, you're probably onto something good. And now, I know what you're thinking, but how much could these pennies really be worth? Well, that's the fun part. The current market value for a 1964D with the double die error can hit up to $1.5 million depending on the condition and rarity. That's right, a penny could be worth $1 million. Just imagine if you found one in a jar of loose change sitting in your attic. That'll change your whole day, huh? So, where do you sell it if you find one? A good place to start is an auction or a reputable coin dealer who specializes in rare coins. These guys know the market inside and out and can help you get top dollar for your treasure, but here's the kicker, you have to know what you're looking for. Without that error, the 1964D penny is just worth, well, about 1 cent. So, if you're casually glancing through a jar of pennies hoping to strike gold, don't get your hopes up too high. But if you are lucky enough to find one of these double die beauties, you could be looking at a serious payday. Before we wrap up, here's a little tip that I always remind myself. Coin collecting isn't just about finding rare coins, it's about having fun with it. When I first got into this hobby, I thought I was just going to collect coins for fun. But soon enough, I realized just how much history, value, and excitement there is in every coin. I even started looking at coins like I was on a treasure hunt. So, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, dig through your old change, and maybe find your own fortune. And there you have it, folks, the 1964D mint mark Lincoln penny could be your ticket to a small fortune. It's a prime example of how one small mistake in minting can create a huge opportunity for collectors and investors alike. So, the next time you're going through your old pennies, keep your eyes peeled, there just might be $1 million coin hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on how to find rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty of other exciting coin tips, tricks, and stories to share. And hey, you never know, your next coin could be the one worth a fortune. So, let's keep hunting together. Hey there, coin lovers. Let me ask you a quick question. What if I told you that you could have a coin sitting in your change jar right now, one that's worth more than most people's cars? Sounds like a stretch, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the world of the 2007 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little copper guy is worth a jaw-dropping $1.60 million. That's right, a penny. I know, it sounds a little crazy, but stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your pocket change in a whole new light. And who knows, maybe you'll find yourself a little treasure to add to your collection. Alright, so let's get into it. First things first, the 2007 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, you might be thinking, 2007? That's not that long ago. Aren't pennies from way back in the day the ones worth money? And you'd be right to ask that. But this particular penny is one of those exceptions to the rule, and that's what makes it so intriguing. You see, most pennies are pretty standard, right? You know, they're copper, they're small, and they typically aren't worth more than a few cents. But sometimes, a mistake or a special feature slips through the cracks, and that's what makes a coin like this one go from being worth 1 cent to, well, $1.6 million. So, why is this 2007 D penny so special? It all comes down to a little something called die clashing. This is when the dies used to stamp the design onto the coin end up making contact with each other, leaving an imprint or mark that wasn't supposed to be there. In the case of the 2007 D penny, some of these coins were struck with die clashing, which caused a unique error that makes them stand out in the numismatic world. And now, don't go thinking you can just look at any 2007 D penny and expect it to be worth millions. Not every coin from this year has this mistake. It's a rare find, and that's why it commands such a high price. It's the kind of thing that'll make you feel like you've hit the jackpot when you find one. I've had my own little penny discovery moment. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old change I had lying around, and I found a 1943 steel penny. I didn't know what I had at the time, but when I looked it up, I was shocked to see that it was worth hundreds of dollars. I couldn't believe it. Here I was, thinking it was just a piece of junk I'd thrown in a drawer. Long story short, I got that penny professionally appraised, and although it wasn't worth millions like this 2007 D penny, it was definitely a nice surprise. But back to the 2007 D penny. If you're lucky enough to find one, here's what you're looking for. First, take a look at the date and mint mark. It should say 2007 with a D mint mark, which means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Then, you'll want to closely examine the details of the coin. If there's any sign of die clashing, like an unusual doubling of the design or a strange mark across Abraham Lincoln's face, that's your golden ticket. Now, you might be asking, okay, but how do I actually sell this thing for $1.6 million? Well, the first step is making sure your penny is in good condition. Coins that are well preserved are worth more, so you'll want to keep your penny safe from the elements. After that, you can either get it appraised by a professional or auction it off through one of the major coin auction houses, but don't just take my word for it. There are real collectors out there who are willing to pay top dollar for rare coins like the 2007 D penny. It's a niche market, but if you've got the right one, you could be looking at a serious payday. And now, I know what you're probably thinking. Why haven't I found $1 million penny yet? Well, my friend, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Finding a rare coin is like hunting for treasure. Sometimes you hit the jackpot, and other times, well, you're stuck with a pocket full of dull, boring pennies. It's like fishing for a big catch and only pulling up a boot. But hey, that's the thrill of the hunt. You never know when you're going to strike gold, or copper, in this case. So, what have we learned today? The 2007 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare gem in the world of coins, and if you're lucky enough to find one with die clashing, you could be looking at a coin worth a staggering $1.6 million. But remember, not every 2007 D penny is going to be worth a fortune, so don't go getting too excited just yet. Before I wrap this up, I want to give you a quick tip: always keep an eye out for unusual markings on your pennies, or any coin, really. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure that could change your life. And who knows, maybe your next trip to the bank will turn up a find that's worth more than your car payment. If you found this video helpful, and hopefully a little fun too, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more coin tips, tricks, and stories. I've got plenty more content lined up to help you on your own coin collecting adventure. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Hey, coin collectors and curious minds. Have you ever looked at your change and thought, could this be worth millions? Well, let me tell you, sometimes that little penny you thought was just pocket change could be worth a fortune. Yep, today we're talking about the 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's worth an astonishing $1.70 million. Now, before you run to your coin jar and start digging, don't get too excited just yet. It's a rare gem that's got some very specific features that make it a serious cash cow. But stick with me, and I'll break it all down, so you'll know what to look for. And trust me, this isn't your average coin story. Grab your magnifying glass, this is going to be good. Alright, let's dive in. So, you've got this 1985 penny. It's just like any other penny you might find in your pocket or under the couch cushions, right? Wrong. This little guy packs a punch. Let me take you back to why this penny is so special. In 1985, the US Mint decided to release a batch of pennies, and while they were all supposed to have a mint mark, some of them, yes, a select few, were missing it. A mistake? Possibly. A very rare, very valuable mistake? Definitely. And now, you're probably wondering, what's the big deal about a missing mint mark? Well, here's where things get interesting. Mint marks tell you where the coin was produced. Normally, you'd see a D4 Denver or a S4 San Francisco, or you'd have no mint mark at all for pennies produced in Philadelphia. But in 1985, a few of these bad boys slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. And that's the key to unlocking their huge value. Think about it. How many people are out there holding onto pennies from 1985 that might be worth a fortune? It's not something you'd expect. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, I'm not saying your entire penny jar is about to make you rich, but it's worth checking, right? This is where things get really fun. See, it's not just about the missing mint mark. It's about the rarity of it. There were only a handful of these coins released without the mint mark. To make matters even more exciting, the ones that are in pristine condition, those with little to no wear and tear, are worth more than the ones that are a bit rough around the edges. So, if you find one of these pennies in mint condition, you're looking at a hefty payday. You know, this reminds me of a time when I found a coin that I thought was just a boring, run-of-the-mill penny. I remember it clearly. I was going through a jar of change, just kind of zoning out. I grabbed a handful of coins, and there it was, just sitting there, a random penny. I almost tossed it back in, but something about the shine caught my eye. So, I looked closer, and boom, it was a rare 1994 D penny with a misprint. I wasn't holding a $1 million coin, but it definitely got me thinking about how easy it is to miss these rare gems. And that's the lesson here: always take a second look. Sometimes, your pennies are worth more than you think. Okay, back to the 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Why is it worth so much? Well, rarity drives value. Only a few of these went into circulation, and most of them were either lost or damaged long ago. So, finding one in good condition is like finding a unicorn in the coin world. This coin isn't just a piece of history, it's also a collector's dream. And remember, the market for rare coins is always evolving, but the 1985 no mint mark penny has consistently held strong value over the years. And now, let's talk about how to spot this beauty. The first thing you'll want to do is look at the front of the penny. Specifically, check for the lack of a mint mark under the date. If it's a clean spot with no letter D or S, that's your cue. But don't stop there. Take a moment to inspect the condition of the coin. The better the condition, the higher the value. If it's been through the ringer and looks like it was dropped in a mud puddle, it's probably not going to fetch top dollar. But if it's in great shape, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Here's a quick tip: you want to make sure it's a genuine 1985 penny, not just a worn-out coin that happens to look a little strange. Get a magnifying glass if you need to, no shame in that. Sometimes, a closer inspection is all it takes to spot the real deal. Also, if you're not sure about its authenticity, there are plenty of reputable coin grading services that can authenticate and appraise your coin for you. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny is rare, valuable, and worth a serious look. But you've got to know what to look for. A coin like this isn't just a piece of history, it's a potential ticket to a massive payday, and there you have it, folks. The 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny, worth up to $1.7 million if it's in the right condition. Who knew a little penny could be worth so much, right? Now, before you run off to check your spare change, remember that not every penny you find is going to be a hidden gem. But it's always worth checking, especially if you know what to look for. The key is to stay curious and never underestimate the value of something small. You never know when you might find that 1 in a million coin that could change your life. So, if you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be dropping more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable finds, and all sorts of cool coin-related stuff. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Got any cool coin finds of your own? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. And hey, if you find a $1 million penny, don't forget to send me a thank you card, okay? Hey there, coin collectors and curious viewers. What if I told you that somewhere out there, buried in your pocket change or stuck in the back of your drawer, there could be a coin worth a small fortune? And no, I'm not talking about the rare, mythical treasure that some pirate buried centuries ago. I'm talking about the humble 1951 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could potentially be worth $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.8 million. Stick around to find out why this coin is so valuable and how you might just have one hiding in your collection. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Alright, let's dive into the juicy details. So, what makes the 1951 Lincoln penny with no mint mark so special? First off, it was minted in Philadelphia, and unlike many other coins from the same era, this penny doesn't have a mint mark. Typically, a coin would have a letter like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, but in 1951, the Philadelphia Mint decided to skip the mint mark altogether. Now, you might be thinking, okay, no mint mark, so what? But here's where things get interesting. In 1951, there were some issues with the minting process. Specifically, the Philadelphia Mint produced a batch of pennies that were a bit different from the norm, and that's where the magic happens. Due to a mix-up, a very small number of 1951 pennies were struck without any mint mark, making them quite rare. The fact that it's not only a rare coin, but also a part of the legendary Lincoln series, just adds to its appeal. And now, here's the kicker: because of its rarity and the high demand among collectors, a well-preserved 1951 no-mint mark penny can fetch a hefty price on the market. Some collectors have paid up to $1.8 million for a pristine example. Can you imagine? A tiny, copper coin worth more than a house. That's a big return on something you might have tossed around for years thinking it was just another penny. I mean, talk about a heads up, literally, but wait, not every 1951 no-mint mark penny is worth $1 million. You gotta check for condition, rarity, and demand. Coins in excellent condition are the ones that fetch top dollar. The key here is finding one that's almost flawless, no nicks, no scratches, no signs of wear and tear. This is a coin that you want to protect like it's the last bag of chips at a party. I remember when I first learned about rare coins. I was a kid, and I thought my pocket change was about as valuable as the gum stuck to the bottom of my shoe. But one day, I found a 1943 copper penny in my change. I thought it was just a cool coin, so I kept it for years. Fast forward to me diving deep into the world of rare coins, and I found out that my cool penny could have been worth thousands. Sadly, I lost track of it, but the moral of the story is, always check your change. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. So, to wrap things up, if you're holding onto a 1951 no-mint mark penny, it's definitely worth a second look. While not every single one of these pennies will fetch $1 million, the ones in mint condition could be a serious goldmine. The real trick is being patient, knowing what to look for, and keeping an eye on the market. Now, I know this coin might seem like one of those one-in-a-million finds, but it's a perfect example of how you could turn a simple hobby into a potential goldmine. Who knew that some pennies, which we often toss aside, could end up being worth more than we can imagine? If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on all things rare and valuable in the world of coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can spot the next $1 million penny. Let's get this treasure hunt started. Hey there, fellow coin collectors. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I want to start today's video with a big question. What do you think the coin in your pocket might be worth? A penny? Maybe 5 cents? Maybe even 25 cents if you're feeling fancy? But here's the kicker: what if I told you there's a penny out there, a 1969 D-mint mark Lincoln penny, that's worth, hold on to your hats, a whopping $1.1 million. Yes, you heard me right, this tiny little coin could make you a millionaire. Stick around, because today we're diving into this fascinating story of a coin that might just be sitting in your change jar, waiting to turn you into a fortune hunter. Alright, before you start rummaging through your pockets or diving into your piggy bank like a coin-crazed pirate, let's break down exactly why the 1969 D Lincoln penny is worth so much. Now, we all know the Lincoln penny, that iconic copper coin we've all seen 1,000 times. But not every Lincoln penny is created equal. Some are like the cool kids of the coin world, and others, well, they're more like the wallflowers at the party. The 1969 D is definitely one of the cool kids, and here's WHY.SO. The D in 1969 D stands for the Denver Mint. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool. It's from Denver. But what makes it special? Well, hold on to your seat, because there's a twist. This penny is special because of something called a double die. No, I'm not talking about some weird math thing. A double die is a minting error, where the coin was struck twice by the dies, which creates a distinct and noticeable doubling of the design, particularly in the lettering and the numbers on the coin. For a coin collector, a double die is like finding a hidden treasure. It's rare, it's exciting, and it's worth a lot of money. We're talking about the double die obverse 1969 D penny. The errors are subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, they're as obvious as a giant neon sign. You'll see the doubling most clearly on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The doubling can give the letters a blurry, ghost-like appearance, which is what makes this penny so valuable to collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, that sounds great, but how in the world do I know if I've got one of these $1 million pennies? Good question, my friend. It's actually pretty easy to spot the error, but you'll need to have a good look at the coin under a magnifying glass or microscope to really confirm it. The doubling should be noticeable, but not everyone will catch it on their first glance. And that's where the treasure hunt begins. But before you get too excited, remember that not every 1969 D penny is worth $1 million. You've got to find the rare ones with the double die. The chances of finding one are slimmer than finding a needle in a haystack, but hey, if it were easy, everyone would be rich, right? Now, I've got a little personal story for you, and I promise, it's not just to entertain you. A few months ago, I was going through some old coins that I inherited from my grandfather. It was the usual mix of pennies, nickels, and dimes, nothing too special. But I remembered a tip I'd read online: always check for minting errors. So, naturally, I grabbed a magnifying glass, which was probably one of the best purchases I've ever made, and started looking closely at some of those pennies. I spent hours squinting at these tiny little coins, convinced I had found a double die error. I called my best friend over to celebrate, just imagining that I was about to become a millionaire. It turned out, after a lot of research and a few failed attempts, that my 1969 D pennies were just regular old pennies. No double die. Bummer, right? But here's the thing, the hunt is what makes it fun. Even though I didn't strike gold, I still learned a ton about coin collecting. Plus, who knows? Maybe the next time I find one of those rare double die pennies, I'll have a story to tell and it'll be worth a small fortune. So, there you have it, the 1969 D Lincoln penny. It's a small coin with a big story and an even bigger value if you happen to find that double die error. Remember, though, if you're hoping to make $1 million, it's all about knowing what to look for and having the right tools, or a magnifying glass, in my case. And while it's rare to find one of these pennies in your pocket change, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out. Now, if you want more tips on finding hidden gems in your coin collection, or you're curious about other coins that could be worth a small fortune, you've got to hit that subscribe button. Seriously, don't miss out on more coin hunting tips and strategies that could help you strike it rich. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share your own coin hunting stories in the comments. Who knows, maybe one of you will find the next $1.1 million penny. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Let me hit you with a little trivia question to kick things off. What do you get when you mix a 1992 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a whole lot of curiosity, and a bit of luck? Well, you could be sitting on $1.2 million worth of shiny copper. Wait, what? A penny? Worth that much? Yep, you heard that right. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the world of the 1992 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and I promise you, it's not your grandma's spare change. If you've got one of these pennies in your collection, you might just be holding on to the next big thing, so grab a snack, make yourself comfy, and let's talk about why this particular penny is making heads turn in the coin world. Alright, let's break it down. The 1992 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, like most pennies, was initially just another coin circulating in your pocket change. You probably tossed it in a jar, maybe even handed it to a vending machine when you were desperate for a snack. But little did you know, this penny has some serious potential. So, what's the big deal with the 1992 D penny? First, let's talk about the D Mint mark. This little d indicates that the penny was minted in Denver, Colorado. But it's not just about where it came from, it's about a mistake, a really important one, that happened during its production. You see, the 1992 D penny has a unique feature that makes it stand out from other pennies minted that year. Now, don't get me wrong, not every 1992 D penny is worth a fortune. But if you happen to have a rare variety, something called the double die obverse, you might be in for a nice surprise. What's that, you ask? Well, it means that the image on the front of the coin, specifically the date and the word Liberty, was struck more than once, creating a slight double impression. Here's the thing, this variety is super rare, and collectors are going crazy for it. In fact, some of these double die pennies have sold for up to $1.2 million at auction. It's like hitting the jackpot with your lunch money. But here's the kicker, you're probably wondering, how can I tell if my penny is one of these valuable ones? Great question, my friend. And I've got you covered. First off, don't just go picking through your change jar with a magnifying glass, you'll drive yourself crazy. But there are a few things you can look for that'll give you the first clue that you might have struck gold. The double die effect makes the numbers 1992 look like they've been stamped twice. The most noticeable part is usually the second 9, which will appear slightly shifted or doubled. If you're looking at a 1992 D penny with this double die error, you'll notice that Liberty will look like it has a bit of a ghostly double effect too. Now, I know what you're thinking, I'm not sure if I'm seeing double or if I need new glasses. And hey, no judgment, because that's how I felt when I first came across a rare coin in my own collection. Let me tell you a quick story. So there I was, going through a bunch of old pennies that my granddad had left me. I was just casually looking for cool designs or anything that looked a little different when, boom, I stumbled across a 1992 D penny. But when I checked the date, I almost fell off my chair. The numbers were doubled. I had no idea at the time that this little guy was worth anything special. But after a bit of research and a few online forums, I learned that it was worth a lot more than I expected. Not quite $1.2 million, but definitely worth more than the pocket change I had initially thought. So, if you find a 1992 D penny with that double die effect, definitely hang on to it. You've got yourself a coin that could be worth thousands, maybe even $1 million, depending on the condition and how rare the error is. And if you don't know if it's real or not, consider taking it to a professional coin appraiser. Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1992 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny might just look like another penny in your pocket, but with the right error, it could be worth big money. The next time you dig through your change, don't just toss that penny aside, give it a second look. You never know when you might be holding a small fortune, so what are you waiting for? Get out there and start searching your coins for these rare finds. And if you're like me, and you want more tips, tricks, and strategies for turning your spare change into big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss out on more of these cool coin discoveries. Trust me, you'll be a pro in no time, and who knows, maybe your next coin is worth $1 million. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, you never know when your next penny could be a fortune waiting to happen. See you in the next video, coin enthusiasts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me about your coolest coin discovery. And as always, keep searching those coins, there's treasure out there just waiting to be found. Hey, have you ever thought your pocket change might be worth a fortune? Well, I'm here to tell you that sometimes, your pennies might just be worth more than that coffee you're planning to buy at the cafe this afternoon. Yep, I'm talking about the 1966 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and let me tell you, this little guy could put a huge smile on your face if you find one in your collection. Not if you're sitting there thinking, come on, a penny? Trust me, you'll want to keep watching. The 1966 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny is currently valued at a whopping $1.3 million. Yes, that's right. $1 million. You might need to double-check your coin jar after hearing this. So, you're probably wondering, how could a simple penny from 1966 be worth so much? I mean, when was the last time you even thought about pennies, let alone looked at them closely, right? We've all been there, tossing them into the jar or letting them collect dust in your drawer like I did. But here's the thing, the 1966 No Mint Mark penny is a rare gem, and it's all about the details. First, let's talk about the mint marks. Mint marks are little letters stamped on the coin to tell you where it was made. Typically, you'll see letters like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker, the 1966 Lincoln penny should have had a mint mark, but some of them didn't. A mystery, right? Well, that's why they're so valuable. In 1966, the Philadelphia Mint made these pennies with no mint mark at all. They were supposed to be produced with a mint mark, but due to some sort of weird error or decision, these pennies came out without one. And because of that, they're a rare find today. It's like finding a hidden treasure in your couch cushions. Let me break this down for you. Even though it's just a penny, a mistake like this is what collectors go wild for. Coin collectors and investors know the value of a rare coin like this one, and the demand for these bad boys is off the charts. You can actually find some 1966 no-mint mark pennies on auction for over $1.3 million, which is wild for something that was worth just 1 cent when it was first minted. And now, don't go rushing to check your spare change just yet. These coins aren't exactly easy to come by. In fact, the 1966 no-mint mark penny is considered a very rare find. So, what should you be looking for when you're hunting for this penny? See how these pennies need to be in great shape, so you're looking for one that's been preserved well over the years. If it's got a ton of wear and tear, it's going to lose value. Think of it like an old pair of sneakers. If they're worn out, they're not going to get top dollar, right? As I mentioned earlier, the 1966 no-mint mark is a mistake, and that makes it even more valuable. The fact that these coins are so rare is why they demand such high prices. Coin collectors are always hunting for rare finds, and this penny is like finding the last piece of a rare puzzle. If you have any pennies from 1966 lying around, it's definitely worth checking. But here's the thing, even though this penny is rare, there are still many out there. If you find one, don't get too excited yet, it still needs to be in pristine condition to fetch that $1.3 million price tag. But even if it's not, don't worry, it's still worth something. So, now that you know why this penny is so valuable, let's get personal. I'll tell you about a time when I thought I had found the jackpot. A few years ago, I was sorting through a box of old coins my grandfather gave me. It was one of those, hey, you should look through this, there might be something valuable in there moments. I rolled my eyes, but decided to give it a shot. And guess what? I found a penny. Just a regular old penny. Or so I thought. Turns out, it wasn't just any penny. It was a 1943 steel penny. At the time, I had no idea that it was worth about $100. I was so pumped. But when I showed it to a friend who was a coin collector, he said, "That's nice, but it's not $1 million penny." So, let's just say I didn't retire on that find, but it got me hooked. And now, I'm here talking to you about this crazy 1966 no-mint mark penny. So, here's the takeaway, the 1966 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a seriously rare coin, and if you happen to find one, you could be sitting on $1 million treasure. But even if you don't, this story just goes to show you that you never know what's hiding in your change jar or collection. Coins like this remind us to always pay attention to the details and to keep our eyes peeled for the next big find. And now, before you go running to dig through your couch cushions or raid your change jar, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you more tips on coins worth money, ways to spot valuable coins, and all the tricks to start building your collection. You'll be one step ahead of everyone else when you stumble across your own hidden treasure. And hey, if you find one of these 1966 no-mint mark pennies, don't forget to let me know. We could all use a little coin collecting luck. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And if you're ready to uncover more of these money-making secrets, hit that bell icon so you won't miss any of our coin talk. Hey there, coin lovers! Did you ever think that a simple penny could be worth more than just, well, a penny? Let me tell you a story. The other day, I was digging through a pile of change, probably looking for enough quarters to buy a coffee, and I came across a 1984 Lincoln penny. It got me thinking, what if this little guy could actually be worth something? And wouldn't you know, it turns out it could be worth a fortune. Yeah, you heard me right, a simple 1984 penny could be worth up to $1.4 million. Stick around, because we're diving into the mystery of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and why it could make you a millionaire, or at least a little bit richer. Let's get started. Alright, let's first talk about what makes the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so special. You might be wondering, isn't a penny just a penny? Well, not exactly. You see, most pennies made in 1984 came with either a D or S mint mark, signifying that they were produced in Denver or San Francisco. But a select few 1984 pennies were struck without any mint mark at all. These unmarked pennies, often called no-mint mark coins, are like the unicorns of the penny world. They're rare, they're hard to find, and they're worth big money. So, what's the deal with these no-mint mark pennies? Well, it all comes down to a bit of a mystery. See, the US Mint generally stamps a mint mark on most coins to show where they were made. But in some cases, like with the 1984 pennies, some coins slipped through the cracks and were produced without mint marks. Experts believe these no mint mark pennies were minted in Philadelphia. But here's the thing, no one really knows for sure, and that's part of what makes these coins so valuable. They're like the rare collectibles of the coin world, and people are willing to pay a lot of money to get their hands on one. Now, here's where things get interesting. A well-preserved, uncirculated 1984 no-mint mark penny could fetch you upwards of $1.4 million on the market. Yep, you heard me. $1.4 million. That's more than most of us will ever make in a lifetime, and it all started with a tiny coin that slipped through history's cracks. You might want to check the back of your couch cushions, your change jar, or even your grandma's old coin collection because you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. So, how can you tell if your 1984 penny is worth a small fortune? Here are a few tips. The condition of your penny plays a huge role in its value. Coins that are well preserved, with minimal wear and tear, are worth a lot more than ones that are scratched up or dirty. If your penny looks like it's been through a few too many pocket tumbles, it's probably not going to bring in $1 million. But don't worry, still hold on to it. Even coins in less than perfect condition can still be valuable. You'll need to make sure that your penny doesn't have a mint mark. If you see a DRS under the date, then it's not a no mint mark penny, and it's not going to be worth the big bucks. But if your penny looks like a blank canvas under the date, congratulations, you've found yourself a rare one. If you're lucky enough to have a 1984 no mint mark penny in good condition, your next step is to get it appraised by a professional coin dealer or grader. This will help you determine its market value, and if it's in the right condition, you might just be able to sell it for a small fortune. Some collectors and dealers specialize in rare coins like this, and they'll help you find the best price. This whole rare penny thing actually reminds me of a time when I found something in my own change jar that I thought was just junk. A few years ago, I came across a dirty old penny at the bottom of the jar. It was tarnished, scratched up, and looked like it had seen better days. But being the curious person I am, I decided to take a closer look. Lo and behold, it turned out to be a rare 1943 steel penny, worth hundreds of dollars. Now, I wasn't exactly rolling in the dough, but it taught me a valuable lesson. You never know when you could stumble upon a hidden treasure. And that's why I'm always telling people to check their change, because you just might have something worth way more than its face value. So, here's the takeaway. The 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a rare and valuable piece of American coinage that could be worth a whopping $1.4 million if you've got a pristine one on your hands. But remember, it's not just about finding the rare coins, it's about knowing what to look for and taking the time to do a little digging. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky coin collector to find a hidden gem, and if you're as fascinated by these rare coins as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be bringing you more tips and strategies on how to find valuable coins that could change your life. From rare pennies to limited edition nickels, we've got it all covered. Hey there, coin collectors and penny enthusiasts. Do you ever look at your change and wonder, could one of these coins be worth a fortune? Well, get ready for a surprising ride, because today, we're talking about a coin that's worth a whopping $1.5 million. That's right, folks, I'm talking about the 1993 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you go checking your wallet and thinking you've struck gold, let me explain what makes this penny so special. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be staring at your change in a whole new way. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into the story of this incredible penny. Alright, so here's the deal, we've all seen the 1993 penny. It's not exactly the rarest coin in the world, but the one with that little D-Mint mark from Denver? Now that's a different story. It's one of those coins that slipped through the cracks of time, and because of a few tiny, unique factors, it has skyrocketed in value. Let's start with a little history lesson. The 1993 D penny was part of the regular minting run, nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary at first glance. It was just your standard copper-plated Lincoln penny. But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies were struck with slightly irregular features, and that's exactly what makes them so valuable today. You see, not every penny that's made is perfect. Most of them go out into circulation looking pretty standard. But a few of them, like the 1993 D penny we're talking about, made it out with some very specific, rare characteristics that make them stand out. Maybe it's the way the die was worn, maybe it's a slight error in the engraving, but whatever it was, it's what made this coin a collector's dream. I know. You might be thinking, well, that sounds like a bit of a stretch. I get it. Who would have thought that a penny, yes, a humble, everyday penny, could be worth a cool $1.5 million? But it's true. The real trick here is finding one of these pennies that hasn't been tossed in the jar with all the other loose change. And that's where the hunt begins. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through my spare change, that mountain of coins I always seem to accumulate, and I found a 1993 penny. I didn't think much of it at first, but something about the mint mark caught my eye. I thought, what if this is the one? After a moment of contemplation, I threw it in a box with a bunch of other pennies I'd been saving. Fast forward a few months, and I finally got around to looking up the value of 1993 pennies. Guess what? I almost fell off my chair when I realized that one of those could be worth a ton of money. I know, rookie mistake, so, the moral of the story is simple: never underestimate your spare change, folks. One wrong move, and you could be passing up on a future windfall. Who knows? That penny you're brushing off might just be worth $1.50 million. Alright, let's break down the specifics of this penny's value. What really makes the 1993 penny so special is its rarity. Only a few of them had the specific characteristics that made them stand out to collectors. Think of it like finding a rare Pokemon card in your cereal box. It's not going to happen often, but when it does, it's worth a fortune. Now, you're probably wondering how you can spot one of these rare pennies. Well, it's all about examining the mint mark and the condition of the coin. Look for any signs of wear, particularly around the edges, and keep an eye out for subtle errors. A coin that's in pristine condition and has those specific little imperfections could be your ticket to a serious payday. So how much are we talking here? The 1993 penny can fetch anywhere from $500 to $1.5 million depending on its condition and the rarity of the error. The key is finding one in mint condition. I mean, the term mint really does mean something here, doesn't it? If you find one, you'll definitely want to get it appraised by a professional. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the chance to cash in on a coin worth more than your car. Alright, coin collectors, here's the takeaway from today's video: keep your eyes peeled, and don't overlook those pennies. If you happen to come across a 1993 mint mark penny, take a closer look. It could be a gold mine hiding in plain sight. And if you find one, well, maybe you'll invite me over to help you spend that $1.5 million. I'll bring snacks, but seriously, the world of rare coins is fascinating, and it's amazing what hidden treasures are out there in your spare change. So, do yourself a favor, check your pockets, look through your coin jar, and who knows? You might just discover something worth a fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and coin strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I've got a ton more coin stories and tips coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes, the smallest things are worth the most. Smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth a lot more than you thought. Until next time, happy hunting, and keep those pennies safe. Hey, coin lovers! Ever found loose change in your couch cushions or pockets and wondered, what if I just found a small fortune? Well, today, I've got a story that's going to make you look at your spare pennies in a whole new light. What if that random 1996 penny you have tucked away is actually worth over $1.6 million? Sounds crazy, right? But believe it or not, this coin has been known to reach those kinds of insane values. So stick around, because we're about to dive deep into the world of the 1996 Lincoln penny, how you could turn that little coin into a big payday, and why you should start checking your change like it's a gold mine. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's break it down. We all know about the iconic Lincoln penny, good old Abe's face staring back at us every time we toss a coin in our pocket. But did you know that 1996 pennies are the hidden gems of the penny world? That's right, you might just have a tiny treasure tucked away in that jar of loose change. Now, I know what you're thinking: how could a penny from 1996 be worth anything more than, a penny? Stick with me here. So, first things first, the 1996 penny. Minted in Denver, this coin is part of the Lincoln Memorial Series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. If you're looking at your penny and wondering, wait, how can I tell if it's the special one? Here's the deal, it's all about the grade and condition of the coin. It's got to be in perfect condition, like fresh out of the mint with barely a scratch on it. The thing about rare coins is that condition matters big time. A shiny, like new coin has a much better shot at earning you big bucks than one that's been tossed around in your wallet for years. But what makes this particular penny worth $1.6 million? Well, it's not just the year. It's all about rarity and demand, and now, here's where it gets interesting, this penny didn't just get lucky. There were some weird, unexpected circumstances around its mintage that made it extremely rare. Normally, the US Mint produces hundreds of millions of pennies every year. But the 1996 D penny, in particular, had an unusual error that makes it stand out. There were some coins that didn't get properly struck during production, leaving them with double dies or other kinds of misprints. This led to fewer perfect examples of this penny circulating. And when that happens, well, boom, the rarity factor kicks in, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. And now, let me tell you a funny personal story. A while back, I was just casually flipping through a box of old coins, and I came across a 1996 D penny that looked pretty decent. I didn't think much of it, I mean, it was just a penny, right? But I decided to check it out online anyway. I'm not kidding, I felt like I discovered hidden treasure when I realized it was one of the rare error coins. I'm talking about the exact kind that is fetched up to $1.6 million at auction. I ran around my house looking for the nearest magnifying glass like some kind of Indiana Jones, making sure I wasn't just holding a regular old penny. Long story short, I didn't find anything worth that kind of cash in my box of change, but it was enough to remind me how easy it is to overlook something valuable in plain sight. It's a little embarrassing, but at least I know now how to spot $1 million penny, but let's talk about how you can spot it. In case you've got a 1996 D hanging around, here's what to look for. Condition is key. If it's well preserved and shiny, it's got potential. But if it has some of those rare errors we talked about, that's the jackpot. Some coins that have been misstamped or incorrectly struck by the mint can be worth a fortune. If yours is in mint state 65 or higher, you might just be holding a real gold mine. You'll want to get it professionally graded to determine its exact worth, so don't just throw it in a drawer and forget about it. That would be like throwing a winning lottery ticket in the trash. I mean, we've all done that with things, right? A couple of years ago, I tossed an old concert ticket in the trash because I thought it was junk. Turns out, it was worth way more than the price of admission. Lesson learned. So, what's the moral of the story here? Always check your change. A coin that seems worthless to most people could actually be hiding big bucks in its tiny frame. Whether it's a 1996 D penny or something else, it's worth taking a second look. And who knows? You could end up sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. And hey, if you like the idea of turning your pennies into big bucks, why not stick around? Subscribe to my channel for more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and strategies for building your own coin collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this stuff. Remember, you could be one penny away from a treasure trove. Hey there, coin lovers. Ever found loose change in your pocket or the backseat of your car and thought, it's just a penny, no big deal, right? Well, what if I told you that one penny, just a regular OL coin, could be worth over $1.7 million? Yup, you heard me right. The 1971 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is so valuable, it might just have more value than the car you're driving. Stick with me, because today we're diving into why that unassuming 1971 penny could be sitting on a gold mine. Spoiler alert, you might want to start checking your spare change. Alright, before we get too carried away, let's talk about why this 1971 penny is worth $1.7 million. Yes, it's that much. At first glance, it might seem like any other penny you've seen. Same copper color, same Lincoln portrait, and same "In God We Trust" motto. But here's the catch, the lack of a mint mark. And now, let me explain. Usually, when coins are produced in the US, they have a mint mark on them, telling us where they were made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But the 1971 no mint mark penny, well, it's a mystery. For some reason, this penny rolled off the presses without the mint mark. And that's what makes it so rare and valuable. But why do we care so much about a missing mint mark, right? I mean, it's just a little DRS we're talking about. Here's where the magic happens. In the world of coin collectors, rarity equals value. Think about it like this: if everyone had the same version of something, it wouldn't be as special. But imagine you're the only one with the last slice of pizza in the fridge. That slice just got a whole lot more precious, right? In 1971, the US Mint accidentally released a batch of pennies without mint marks. And because the minting process for coins is so meticulous, only a small number of these were produced. Less than 2,000 pennies made it into circulation. So, you can imagine how excited collectors get when they stumble upon one of these. It's like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of regular clovers. But much more valuable. We're talking big, life-changing money here, okay? Let's break this down a little more. The 1971 no-mint mark penny, which I should probably start calling the $1.7 million penny, just to give it some respect, is incredibly rare. It's a true one-in-a-lifetime discovery. These rare pennies don't just sit around like your loose change. No, they've got to be in good condition too. We're talking about mint state quality here, which means the coin is well preserved, shiny, and has minimal signs of wear. But here's the fun part. Finding one of these is like winning the lottery, except, unlike lottery tickets, you don't have to scratch anything off. You just need to be paying attention. And you know, most people don't think twice when they find a penny in the couch cushions, right? I mean, it's not even worth picking up sometimes. But what if it was? I actually had a similar experience when I found a random coin under my couch one afternoon. It was just a regular coin, and I thought, oh, another penny. Whatever. But for some reason, I decided to give it a closer look, and guess what? It wasn't a 1971 penny, but it turned out to be a rare coin with some collector's value. It wasn't worth millions, but it was enough to make me start really paying attention to every penny I came across. Moral of the story? Never underestimate a penny. Seriously. You never know. Well, here's the deal. Only a few thousand of these pennies are in good condition, and even fewer have survived the decades without being lost, melted down, or used for anything else. It's rare, it's mysterious, and it's got that collector's allure. It's the kind of coin that gets collectors excited in ways that make you want to grab your own magnifying glass, and while some coins sit in your pocket waiting for you to buy your morning coffee, others, like this 1971 penny, could be waiting to make your wallet much fatter. And here's the kicker: finding one doesn't require any special knowledge, you just need to keep your eyes peeled. Those pennies you dismiss? They could be worth thousands, or even millions. So, now you know the real story behind the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's worth $1.7 million. It's one of those crazy, unexpected finds that can make anyone a coin collector. And who knows? Maybe you're sitting on a goldmine right now, just waiting for someone to notice. Before you start raiding your coin jars and flipping through every penny in your pocket, take a second to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth money. Trust me, you'll thank me later when you stumble across a coin that could make you a fortune. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Have you ever come across a penny and thought, it's just a penny, nothing special here? Well, let me stop you right there because, just maybe, that penny in your pocket could be worth a small fortune. No, I'm not joking. Today, we're diving into the world of the 2008 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny, which could be worth a whopping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.80 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, this guy's lost it. But trust me, we're about to uncover all the juicy details of why this penny has such a massive value. So, grab that coffee, settle in, and let's talk about how a simple coin from 2008 might just be the golden goose you've been waiting for. And if you stick around to the end, I got a little story about how I almost missed a huge opportunity with a coin that I thought was worthless. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Let's kick things off with the basics. The 2008 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny might seem like your everyday penny at first glance, but its value isn't in its appearance. In fact, most pennies from that year are worth, well, a penny. But here's where it gets interesting. There's a specific batch of 2008 pennies with a D-Mint mark that's more valuable than you could imagine. Now, before we get into the details, let me just say, I can already hear the skeptics out there. But it's just a penny. There's no way it could be worth that much. Oh, but it can, my friend. And it's not about the size of the coin, it's about rarity and history. If you have one of these 2008 pennies, especially in mint condition, you could be holding onto a piece of American history worth way more than its face value. So, why is this penny so valuable? Well, in the world of coins, value comes from a couple of factors: rarity, demand, and condition. And when it comes to the 2008 penny, this specific coin has all three going for it. Let's break it down. The 2008 penny was part of the presidential series, which featured pennies with a special design celebrating Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday. The design was a tribute to Lincoln's legacy, and, as you can imagine, any coin that commemorates a major historical figure has the potential to be worth something special. But here's the twist: while most 2008 pennies are just average, some rare minting errors and production mistakes have turned these pennies into highly sought-after collectibles. And now, here's the kicker. These 2008 Lincoln pennies were initially mass-produced with no one really thinking about them. But over time, collectors began to notice a few things that made them unique. The rarity comes from specific flaws in the minting process that resulted in extremely low numbers of certain types. We're talking about things like double strikes or incomplete strikes. These imperfections make the coins highly desirable to collectors looking for something truly unique. You might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, it's all about examining your coin carefully. Look for signs of a double strike, unusual indentations, or even slight misalignments in the design. Don't worry, though, we're going to dive into more details on how to spot these rare finds in just a moment, but before we get there, let me tell you a little story about my own penny hunting experience. A few years back, I was going through a box of old coins I inherited from my grandmother. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few dusty nickels and some tarnished quarters. But as I was flipping through the box, a particular penny caught my eye. It was an old 1960-something Lincoln penny, and it looked pretty worn out. Naturally, I thought, no big deal, and tossed it in a pile. A few months later, I met a fellow coin enthusiast who happened to know a lot more about pennies than I did. As we were chatting, he asked to see my collection, and when I handed him that same penny, he almost had a heart attack. Turns out, that old, worn penny had a rare minting error, making it worth way more than I could ever have imagined. I ended up selling it for several $100s, and learned a valuable lesson about never underestimating a coin just because it looks ordinary. So, if you ever find yourself looking at a 2008 penny and think, it's just a penny, remember my story and take a second look. Now, let's talk about how you can spot these rare 2008 pennies. First off, make sure the coin has the D mint mark. The D indicates that it was minted in Denver, which is crucial for our search. But here's where it gets interesting: it's all about the condition of the coin. If your penny is well preserved and has no noticeable wear, you're already on the right track. Next, keep an eye out for those minting errors I mentioned earlier. Look for things like double strikes. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, creating a ghost image. Incomplete strikes. This occurs when the coin isn't fully stamped, leaving part of the design missing. Off-center strikes. The design might be misaligned, giving the penny a quirky look. If you notice any of these unusual traits, you might just be holding onto something worth far more than its face value. And if your coin looks like it's in mint condition, you might be sitting on a $1.8 million treasure. So, there you have it. The 2008 Lincoln penny, not just a penny, but potentially a goldmine if you know what to look for. And remember, this isn't just about luck, it's about understanding the nuances of coin collecting and knowing what to look for. And now, before you go running to your piggy bank or scouring your couch cushions for that elusive 2008 penny, I've got a quick favor to ask. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and insider info on coins worth money. I'll be back with more valuable coin hunting strategies and stories that'll keep you in the loop when it comes to finding hidden treasures. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and happy hunting! You never know, that next penny you find could be worth $1 million.